This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. So many times we'll hear somebody say, I'm not creative. I wasn't born creative. I can't draw. I can't, nothing like that. I'm not creative. We all are creative. And every day, pretty much every moment of every day, we're doing things with creativity, even solving problems. You go look at jobs nowadays, they're looking for, I just saw a friend, he's looking for a job, software engineer that's a creative problem solver. That's what they're looking for. They're not talking about somebody artistic, although I believe all of us have artistic traits. I've learned a lot about this from her, and she is a registered drama therapist where she allows us to use our creativity to express ourselves, deal with situations, and we're going to solve some problems creatively today with Sally Bailey, who's back on the program. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a lovely day here. I hope it's a lovely day there. And I've brought one of my favorite little drama therapy tools with me today, which is very useful for getting people into a creative state of mind. You know, in order to really solve problems, if you're in therapy, you have to feel like you can. You can't be in a state of, I'm a failure. I tried everything. It's hopeless. Because then you don't have the energy to figure out a new way. And often when people are just starting in a creative art therapy, they've already told themselves things like, I can't do it. I can't paint. I can only draw stick figures. I'm not creative. And in teaching classes to students who were not theater people, I have found that they always come in with, I'm not creative. And I get that in journals all the time. But as you said in your introduction, we all are creative. That is part and parcel of being a human being. And we just have to warm it up and get it going and believe in it, and it will be there. So I brought one of my favorite things. This is the magic tube. It's really just a tube that is at the bottom of a roll of paper towels. And I have made it magic by making it beautiful with pieces of tape. And it could just be a typical tube left over with no decoration.
And for anybody that can't see this, if you're listening to us, it's a paper towel tube, but it's got different colors along the way: black, gold, green, blue, red, orange, yellow, with just rolls of tape around it for each individual color. That's all I got. I don't know how this is going to work.
Well, what you do is you look at the shape and you think, what could this be? And then you use it as what it could be. For instance, I could do this, and you can describe what I'm doing as I'm doing it.
You're eating corn.
Yes, I am. I'm eating corn. Or I could do this with it.
You're drinking a beverage. It's a cup.
Yes. Or I could do this with it.
Oh, you're curling your hair.
I'm curling my hair. Or I could even do this with it.
Fishing pole.
Well,
you're casting.
Like an umbrella, but it's hard to see because you're not.
Well, it could be either. It could be either of the two.
It could be either of the two. Yes. And what you do with this is you pass it around the circle and let everybody make it into something that they see. And what I didn't say was, you always say that this is just an example to hold in your mind's eye. You don't have to imagine it, it's right here, but you can elongate it or you can make it shorter. It doesn't have to be an object that's exactly this size. So
Gotcha.
I could make it into an earring.
Right,
And that's way longer than any earring that anybody would ever wear. Although I'm sure there's somebody somewhere who wears earrings like that. Or you could make it longer and like turn it into a golf club. But if you're putting, if you're doing that action, people see that. And so it's a creativity exercise for the person who's thinking about what is this, what could it be, and for the people who are watching because they have to see what that is. And it's amazing that I have found everybody of every intelligence can play this game. I have worked with people who had very low intelligence and they were able to play this brilliantly. And in fact, I had one time I took a frisbee and used that as the object because it's a totally different kind of shape. So you get different things. You get hats from it. You get wheels from it. Well, she put it on her hand and turned it around her finger. And she was making a record player,
Oh,
playing a record. And it was brilliant. I had never seen anybody do that, but she had thought it through. And we were just blown away, the people in the group, because we saw it. Once we saw it, we all saw it.
so is the beauty of this where you have a number of people and they need to guess what it is?
You don't have to have a guesser. Actually, you could play this game by yourself with an object. If you felt like I'm hitting a wall, I can't think of any ideas. I'm blank. You could take a pencil, take a glass, take any kind of object. A piece of fabric is great because it can really mold into different shapes. And play with it and make it into as many different things as you can think of. And then suddenly your brain, in doing this, your brain kind of relaxes and opens up and starts to see things from different perspectives.
It's amazing just looking at that tube with rolls of colored tape on it. I'm seeing the first thing I thought of in seeing that is a old school telescope or
Mhm.
something used like on an old ship. I don't know what they were called, like binoculars, but the one glass. I'm seeing that like that's over
Mhm.
everything, and maybe being able to see the future through that.
Yes. So you can then take it into a scene if you want to, or you
Hmm.
can say, what made you think of that? Oh, I'm looking into the future. Oh, well, let's talk about the future today.
So
Um,
let me ask you a question, Sally. With all of this, whatever comes up for us, whether it's a corn on the cob you see or a telescope, whatever it might be, is that giving clues to what's going on within us, maybe deeper within us, and that's
m-
how we express
maybe,
it? Maybe.
maybe. It might just be that in that moment you see a particular object and it might have something to do with what's happening. Like little boys always want to take this and hit you over the head with it, or hit the person next to them over the head with it, um, or shoot somebody, turn it into a gun or a bazooka. I've been bazookaed many times, um, and that may be part of them that they may feel, like really rambunctious. Um, I rarely see a young girl, bazooka somebody. Um, but not necessarily. It could just be their mind is looking at things from different perspectives and they just see something new.
Hmm.
And as you do it, you start to be able to see other options. So then, if you move from doing something like that into working on some kind of a problem, even if you're working just one on one with somebody, suddenly their brain is open to thinking about other things or thinking about things in a new way.
Is this kind of the gateway to creativity. A simple exercise. It's a piece of cardboard, some tape on it, but this just opens the door to us being more creative, thinking creatively, about any life, whatever is challenging us as well.
Yeah. And in
Hmm.
fact, this kind of an exercise is used as a creativity evaluator in
Really?
creativity research. They give people an object and like a brick or one of these, and they ask them, how many different ways can you use this? And they have a certain amount of time, and then they count not only the number of things that you came up with, but also how ingenious the idea was. Like, how common is this? A brick. I could use it as a paperweight. Well, almost everybody comes up with using a brick as a paperweight, but they might come up with something totally different that hardly anybody does or comes up with. And I don't know what that would be because I've never done this with a brick. Um,
You know what comes to mind for me when you talk about brick? History. Every brick tells a story. There's history behind that. That brick came somewhere. It was in a building, potentially. Um, that building could be years old. That brick could fly on the wall. That brick has seen so much, and now you have it.
Wow, that's yeah. I think that that would be one of those really high up there, not used often creative ideas
I'm
that
always thinking like that. Sometimes it's the thinking that kept me out of the good schools, but I'm always thinking. That's what I say. There's where'd you get that? Unless you went to a mason and you got a brand new brick. As a matter of fact, I was walking in town yesterday with my dog. Funny you should say, it's like you're psychic, Sally. There were signs, and the signs that, like call it coroplast. It's like a cardboard with the metal stakes going in the ground. And it said, free bricks, free bricks. So apparently they took a building down, and if you need free bricks for a project or whatever, you can pick them up. And then my first thinking was, well, where do those bricks come from? There's probably a little bit of history. This town, there's houses that go back to the 1700s in this town.
God.
Hey, I wonder where I'm going to get a brick. Where's this brick from? Tells a story. There's a story within every one of them.
And that's also true, is that something like that gets you willing to talk about
Mm.
yourself. You
Hmm.
know, that kind of an idea would be a perfect place in a therapy session to ask somebody to say, well, tell me one of your stories, one of the things that's happened to you, or imagine what what has this brick actually seen?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if the brick has actually seen that or not, but it gets people thinking and being creative.
Do you feel that there is a story in everything?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. More than one, usually.
Hmm. I'm even this complete digression, but I just think top of my head. Even if you have scars, like I got one here, I got one here, I
Mm,
got one here, I got three here. I'm not even kidding. You can't even see them on camera. They say whatever. Every one of them has a story.
mhm.
I can remember, whether it was for surgery or got impaled on a fence. Or everyone has this. There's a story. The brick has a story. We have a story. Things that are holding us back. There's a story
Mhm.
behind that invariably. I just thought of that there's a story within everything.
And most people don't think about those stories. They remember them, they can remember them if you ask them about them, but they're not thinking about them, and so maybe they're not aware that it's something that's holding them back.
Right. Right.
And just having that awareness makes you able to work with it or not let it block you from doing whatever you need to do.
Mm.
Um, Another great thing about this is if you play it with a group of people that you're working with, and you guys are not able to uh, get past some kind of a blockage that you're having, either somebody's frustrated, somebody's tired, you've worked on this for so long and you couldn't figure it out. If you play this game for about 10 minutes and just pass it around, suddenly whatever was stopping you from being able to work together kind of dissolves. and suddenly you can work together again
Hmm.
because you're able to see each other's perspectives.
It's communication too. And
Hmm.
which is what, yeah, and certainly in a group setting or drama therapy, there's communication. People are communicating their thoughts or challenges, maybe through puppets, but we need to communicate with ourselves. You
Yeah.
feel that we're not really doing that effectively, and that's where, the train of happiness derails.
Yes, I think that's one of the big things that derails the train of happiness.
Mm.
And people backing away from communication and being lonely and not being able to reach out from the whatever blockage they've created to keep themselves safe.
It's wonderful when you're in new situations. Like I talked about walking in town with my dog. I do it like maybe once a week. He doesn't get out enough. I'll get him out there. I'm going to say this. Now I've got friends and things around. I don't want to hang with them on that day. I want to be by me and my dog, but a new experience. You never know who you're going to meet walking down the street.
Mhm.
It's a whole new conversation. The dog is like a conversation starter. He's really cool. Um, and it's just seeing things differently. It's kind of fun, just learning, hearing somebody's story, walking down the street, a stranger. It's like we don't even do it. We're afraid to, or society's going to judge us from being open or even starting a dialogue and a discussion.
Um, I guess I have always been really open to that because my mother would, and she grew up in New York City, and Long Island, and she would just
Oh.
walk up to people and start conversations. And I'd be standing there, and my brother
Yeah,
would
and you were
listen.
probably like, "Here we go again."
Yeah, exactly. But I would always hear
Mm.
great stories that she would be
Mm.
able to get people to tell her. And it wasn't like she was asking, poking at you questions. Well, tell me this or tell me. She would just be a listener
Yeah,
and listen.
I got to ask you. I'm on Long Island, grew up here. Where was your mom from?
Rockville Center.
Okay, yeah, no, well, Nassau County, sure.
Hmm.
Well, I had no idea you had a connection. We never talked about our stories.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
My grandparents lived there, and we would go there every summer and go to Jones Beach,
yep.
and go to the Baird Cutting Arboretum and do all kinds of fun things.
Wow. So Jones Beach. Here comes a story. First concert I ever went to was my father took me and my sister to see James Taylor at the Jones Beach Theater.
Yes.
And prior to that, probably about 3 years before that, they used to do plays, like productions.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget they did The Sound of Music. So I went to go see The Sound of Music. And I don't know if you know who Guy Lombardo is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He lived nearby, a big band leader. He would be the one that did the Old Lang Syne. He would play that, on New Year's Eve on TV, live TV. He would be there and conduct the orchestra, and he would drive his boat up, called a tempo, I believe it was. And we get out of the boat and direct everybody and get back in his boat and go back home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I, I saw, I think, South Pacific there when I
Wow.
was a kid. I think that's what I saw there.
Hmm. I totally forgot about that until you mentioned Jones Beach, and Rockville Center has a very famous train station. It's a thing. Like it's an
Oh,
older train station. Yeah,
uh-huh,
just going
yeah.
back by memory here. Yeah. And there's an old Irish bar on the corner because I remember doing a radio event there, like 10, 15 years ago. It's a digression. But everybody, there's a story in everything. It's amazing once you start, talking about it and using these different methods to start the conversation. Um, that cardboard tube could be the whatever that's called that the band leader, Guy Lombardo, could have
Oh,
used.
absolutely. It could be the baton.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, or, if you're driving the boat, it could be
Yes. Yeah. Or water skiing. Looks like you're
water
holding.
skiing.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. Wow. And I got that even before you said it because I saw you doing that motion. Hmm. How can we unleash our creativity? And I'm talking about all areas, not just painting, drawing, whatever, even creative problem solving. How can we take the chains off?
I think one of the things is to play games like this.
Okay. Be a kid.
By yourself, you can do it by yourself, you can do it with other people. And that is kind of getting your brain working. And
Hmm.
it's beginning to see things and open up.
Yep.
And then you sit down and you start to connect new things together. And that's part of creativity, is saying, I've got this problem. Oh, wait, I could use this and I could use this and I could put them together and it would solve my problem. If it's a physical problem, or if it's a working problems out with other people, I can say this to them instead of get out of my way.
Mm.
You know,
I'm seeing this in a different way. You ever challenge your brain a little bit? Let's say you're working on a computer program. It's fresh in my mind. I'm working on a new one and just learning it, but I'm feeling that, oh, wow, I'm using my brain. I don't get to use it that often to figure things out. Do you think it's kind of the same way? Once you get in that motion of thinking creatively, no matter what it is, it just kind of snowballs down the hill?
oh yeah, absolutely. And
Mm.
so you just need to warm it up, get it clicking, and you be able to, forever how long you're working on the problem, you're able to see things in a new way and come up with
Yeah.
new solutions. And if that stops happening, it means it's time to let your brain rest. And another good way to think and create things is to take a walk. And that's
Mhm.
because your legs are alternating, and each leg is connected to the opposite part of the brain. So you're reconnecting things inside your brain together.
Never ever thought of that. Wow. And we don't intentionally take a walk, walk from here to the bathroom, back to the desk, and there's not a lot going on there. Interesting. I'll learn a whole bunch of stuff with you, Sally. And this starts with drama therapy, but we're defining a whole bunch of different things and principles and along the umbrella of drama therapy. How does somebody find you if they have a question? Maybe they want to dig deeper into this. How do they connect with you?
They can connect with me through my website. I've got a thing where you can send in a question and connect with me. It's www.dramatherapycentral.com.
You brought back a memory I forgot to mention last time we got together because you had puppets. When I was in sixth grade, my friend Mike Harrison and I did a production, and it was um, school in Russia, what school was like in Russia. And we used Ernie and Bert Muppets to illustrate that. And that was in sixth grade. And I remember back to it. There was no other way to really illustrate it except using puppets of what life was like in Russia at the time for kids in school. That was so much fun.
Well, and it gave you permission to use your voices in a different way.
Yes, it did. And instead of writing a report on it, it was fun to do it that way. And in front of the class, we had music going and that all of that. So yeah, it's fun being creative, isn't it?
It is. It makes life worth living.
Thank you so much for being here today. Learned a lot and validated a lot. I really appreciate it. We'll catch up soon. We'll be right back.
Okay.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.